All right. So
I hope there's no math. Not gonna be any math.
There's no math.
No math.
trust me.
Okay.
We are not math people. There is no math involved whatsoever. Thank you. Okay, what's the Pythagorean theory? Theorem, excuse me.
I'm certainly not Fuhrer.
Okay, we'll start rolling.
Ready?
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for doing this with us today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your 21st Grammy.
Thank you. That was nice. I got to honor a dear friend that I knew for a little over 25 years. She spent most of those years with me on the bus and on the road and singing with me. And it was good people. I was proud of that.
Well, we were excited to see it, so we're like, yes, another one. Right before we get to talk to him.
Yes.
So that was pretty exciting.
Yes.
Great.
And we were also very touched. We've heard your story of the connection between little Jimmy Dickens and your father.
Uh-huh.
Will you share that with us?
Yeah, I never knew for my whole life, even I didn't know the story until my father passed away, and it was related to me by his brother. But when I started turning up at the Opry in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, my dad would always, who'd you meet, who'd you get to hang out with? And one night I sang with little Jimmy Dickens on stage, and my dad called me and says, now you've really done something. You got to play with little Jimmy Dickens. And we used to sing The Bird of Paradise at the house when I was a little kid. And Jimmy and I became great friends. And my dad came to the Opry a few years before he passed away, and told Jimmy, he said, I've always been a huge fan, and I can't find a copy of your record of Plain Old Country Boy. He had a song called I'm a Plain Old Country Boy. And he said, I can't find it anywhere. And Jimmy said, well, give me your address and I'll send you. So Jimmy sent my dad a copy of that record. And so then fast forward several years later, to my father's funeral, and my father's brother was there, and it was time for me to do what I wanted to do to honor my dad. And so I just picked some of the songs that I thought my dad would like. And the first thing I played was Plain Old Country Boy. And right after I played that, I invited his younger brother, to come up and speak at the service. And he was kind of bewildered looking. And he says, I don't have any idea what possessed you to play that song, but I don't know if you know this, but when we were little boys and we got our first record player, the very first record we ever got was that one. And so, never knew it, but sure neat to know how the planets aligned there for a few minutes. It was pretty cool.
Well, I want to share a quote that is from you.
Yeah.
It was from a previous interview you did, actually, talking about this story. And your quote was, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Your quote was, that connection is full circle.
Yeah.
When life is special, that's when you find all of these connecting points that wind up back at square one all over again. And part of the reason we're here today is you're my full circle story. When I was 9, my mom took me to my very first concert, and it was with Pure Prairie League. And obviously you were singing with them, and I was absolutely smitten in my 9-year-old mind with the lead singer. That was you.
Yeah.
Obviously,
You got over that, though, didn't you?
No, I
Didn't
can
take
tell you
long.
something. I picked it. I nailed it at 9 years old. I knew where you were going. But my mom made sure that I got to meet you.
Uh-huh.
And we, stood out back and waited, and Mike Riley was nice enough to bring us back. And I remember sitting on your tour bus, and while you guys were loading after the show, and that night was a real defining moment for me. I learned quickly as time went on that I thought at first that that's how musicians treated all of their fans. I learned.
Not
They don't.
necessarily, yeah.
Not all of them do.
Yeah.
But you know what? The special ones, they do.
Yeah, I think just kindness is, it's not associated with an athlete or an entertainer or a policeman, or it either is or it isn't.
Right.
People are kind or they're not, and I just had great parents and I had a great family life. And that was the way I always went through life. It's just
Right.
being welcoming of everything and everybody.
Well, now, and I'm going to say the number, 37 years later,
Mhm.
I get the opportunity to sit here with you and my own daughter.
That's cool.
So this is our full circle,
That's neat.
just like you had yours with Jimmy Dickens
Sure.
and your dad.
I think life works that way. It
Absolutely.
just operates in circles and it comes back around.
It's like, certain things are meant to happen, and here we are.
So like looping back to the whole full circle thing, with her mom bringing her, and then my mom now bringing me. Did you ever think that with your young age that you'd be able to like impact 3 generations of fans?
No, I don't think you think that way. I think you're just grateful if anybody responds when you do this, And I think once you start, if you start thinking you're going to have an impact or you're important or you matter, that's when you miss the point. The point of all this is just being normal. Normal's a pretty neat way to roll. You don't have to put out a whole lot of effort to be normal.
So you like Walmart too?
Yeah, I do everything everybody does. It's I was talking to somebody the other day. I said it kind of makes me sad that people are surprised when you're nice.
Right.
And I mean that's not a very good. That's not a good way to go into. I mean it's awkward being a fairly well-known person in that the strangers know you, but you don't know them.
Right.
And you're already at somewhat of an odd advantage, disadvantage. And then when they're going to be around you and they're expecting you not to be nice, then you're at another disadvantage.
Right.
So the most disarming way to live is just smile at somebody, shake their hand or hug them or just be normal and smile. It just takes everybody and makes everything okay.
And that tends to obviously have the most impact.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it does.
I think so.
Well, I have to say, I'm a second generation fan. When my
Yeah.
mother found out that I was coming here tonight,
Mhm.
she kind of lost it a little bit. Said, I'm going, I will be there if I have to stand in a corner. I have loved him forever. But unfortunately, her schedule did not work, so she could be here. But I promised I would say hello from Betty Sue.
I'll tell Betty Sue we'll come back.
All
Show
right.
up again.
Okay, good.
We'll have to come to LaGrange. I believe you're going to be in
Yes.
LaGrange
I think so, yeah.
in
Yeah.
June,
Later in the
maybe?
summer, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to bring Mama down so you can meet her. Our 2 single moms just started last summer, and our very first interview was Mike Riley with Pure Prairie League. Yes, it was. So, who is the first person that ever interviewed you?
I don't have any idea.
Don't remember.
No, I don't have a clue. It's been so many years ago. I wouldn't lay claim to what a real interview was, And the funny thing is if you do this, you do them hour after hour after hour. You just spend an entire day just talking to a different person all day long about the same things. You're
Right.
promoting a single or a record or an appearance somewhere or whatever. So it's pretty similar every time, And there's not a lot of new information after doing this for 42 years. So
Oh, come on now. This is
You're
new.
supposed to make it as you go along, right?
it's just all people hanging out and getting acquainted. That's all it is.
Did you ever have like a musical influence really like growing up? Like when you were a kid, did you ever have this defining moment that said, this is what I want to do?
Well, sure. I had all the people that I looked up to that were musical, and I love sports, so I had sports heroes, music heroes. I had all kinds of folks I looked up to. And tonight, I don't know if you saw, but I got to play a guitar that was Dwayne Allman's guitar from the Allman Brothers.
Oh, wow.
And you talk about full circle.
Sure.
Is
Where are we?
I was in my room trying to figure out how to play the guitar like he did, because I love their records. I had their records. And that guitar that he used on all those early records, they have here at the museum
Wow.
in Macon, and I got to play it the last time I was in town. And Richard brought it over again this time and let me play it, and it's really interesting because it's hearing something in real time that I'm actually hearing in the air, and not through a set of speakers or through
Sure.
an LP or something. And just it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had playing a musical instrument. It just has its own definitive sound that can't even describe, and it's pretty impressive to get to play it. And I think I'll play a little bit tonight. And it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I can definitely relate to that because my brother's been trying to teach me guitar since I was like 6, and then I finally picked up a guitar again about a year or 2 ago, and it's really one of the best feelings in the world. And so, among others, it's very mainstream, but I'm a big fan of the Beatles. But what I want to know is, what was your favorite like artist or band growing up as a kid around my age at 14?
Oh man, I'd probably lean on the Beatles too.
All
You
right.
know, they had the best songs.
I do.
You know, and you look now 40 plus years later, and maybe even more, 50, and that's why they were so just unforgettable. It's because the songs were so great. That's the great separator of the greatest artists versus some that just do okay for a little while. But those songs are so important. And you know, I was just a little knucklehead musical kid that loved everything. I didn't care whether it was country or bluegrass or rock and roll. I loved it all and absorbed it all. So I have a very open mind musically. And you know, the neat thing about being a kid and playing an instrument or something like that is, you think about it, that instrument is never going to let you down. If you needed somebody to hang out with, go shoot hoops with, or go ride bikes and nobody was around, that guitar or that piano or whatever instrument was always there. You know, never ever wasn't there. His best friend I ever had.
So I've heard a lot about this, and I really wanted to hear about like a little more about it. So I was wondering if you could actually share with us the story about your experience with Kanye West at the Grammy Awards.
Oh, it was pretty harmless. He, you know, he has a way of kind of
No.
being a little bit, you know, overconfident maybe.
No.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with being confident. You know, there's a fine line between confident and arrogant, and they're similar, but they're very different. And I just think he was a little bit, you know, it put me off, it put the Foo Fighters off, it put Herbie Hancock off,
Sure.
because we were all nominated for the same award. And he, after saying he was the greatest artist that ever lived, and I own these awards, and I'm the greatest that's ever been, and I'm going to win the big award later. And if I don't, he said, Amy Winehouse deserves to win it. And I'm sitting there with the Foo Fighters, and we're kind of going, well, thanks a lot. You know? It wasn't very nice. And so I just had a little fun with him. You know? I just got one handed to me by Ringo Starr, and thought this would be a nice way to just put it back on him a little bit. No big deal.
So what did you say?
Well, I was right after his speech, they gave the country award away for the album of the year, and I won. And Ringo gave me this Grammy, and I just kind of went, I can't believe it. I just got a Grammy handed to me by a Beatle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about Kanye, and I said, hey, Kanye, have you had that happen to you? And he was sitting in his chair. It was so funny that nobody knows, but they only saw his face maybe 5 seconds after I said that, and he was smiling. But when I said it, his reaction was beautiful. I said, have you ever had that happen to you? And he kind of went. So it was a pretty sweet moment, you know, all in all. And it was, you know, it was meant pretty tongue-in-cheek.
Good.
Just good fun.
Well, in that case, did you donate to his GoFundMe?
No, I didn't know he was needing some money.
I think about a year ago, he had set up a GoFundMe to help fund his greatness
Oh,
to the
no.
world.
I didn't chip in.
Okay. Well, in that case, now you might not have seen the one that went around that was offering to pay Kid Rock to kick his ass.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of wasted time right there. No, I don't do any social media.
Yeah.
I don't text. I don't get on there and rant and rave and voice my opinion. I just like to stand to myself.
Well, speaking of Kid Rock, I know that you've done, I think I heard you say, at least 500 collaborations with other artists.
Yeah, probably a good bit more than that.
Yeah.
Now, but yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever done anything with Kid Rock or any plans to do
Yeah,
something?
we're friends. We're actually good friends and played golf together and which is shocking to me. He's a golfer, but I always liked him, you know. And we played together honoring Merle Haggard at the Kennedy Center Honors one year. And him and Bob Seger did a duet on one of Bob's records of a song of mine called "A Real Mean Ball."
Okay.
So yeah, we're good pals.
Good.
We like him a lot. And I bet if Kanye and I met each other, we'd hit it off with each other. Yeah, I'm not hard to like.
No, I don't think so. You're a very easygoing guy.
So, so Kid Rock was a big, like, household name, especially with me growing up and my brother growing up and her being around. She always listened to Kid Rock. She loved Kid Rock. But I'm pretty sure that in their house, growing up in her house with her mom, you know, I'm pretty sure it was just a big household name and how she just loved you, I guess. And I just wanted to thank you for giving me, like, a glimpse of the person and, like, music that she really liked. And to be honest, I never really got to meet her. She died before I was born, and so it was just, it's nice to meet a part of her personality, really. And that's one of the best things I could ever ask for, because I really, really wish I'd met her.
You will someday.
And on that, I can say I can sing you every song from Firing It Up, or is it Firing Up or Firing Up?
Both.
Yeah, I can sing every one of those songs.
I wish I could. I can't anymore.
Oh,
I tried to forget a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, I remember all of those songs.
Well, that's what you want. You know, you got something you do, and all you ever want anybody to do is respond. It's kind of that simple, and some do and some don't. Grateful for the ones that do.
Yeah. Well, you have certainly had an impact in this little circle here.
Thanks.
I think it's safe to say that people have responded well
Yeah.
to what you did there.
My mom was a lover of all things music,
Yeah.
and when she was a very passionate and very devoted fan of anyone that she loved, and of course, you know, she loved you. And when she passed away before my daughter was born, one of my biggest regrets was that they were never able to meet. And it's very special to be able to share this.
I'm sure.
And thank you so much.
We can't understand all that stuff, but it'll all get answered someday.
Right. I mean, it's okay. It's just really super cool to me to be able to share that with my own kid, with the person who
Yeah.
fired it up in me,
Yeah.
you know, and drove that lifelong passion that I now have, and that I've passed on down to her. So I'm super,
I'm the one that should say thank you.
oh, no,
Yep.
it's an honor to be able to do this and to bring my daughter with
That's
me.
awesome.
So, thank you very
Thank
much.
you
bet.
so
All
much.
right. Y'all have fun tonight.
We will.
Okay, we appreciate your time.
You betcha.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cry.
It's all right.
I was